Hello, everyone. I'm Jenna. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, let me share a little bit about me. I am an energy healing practitioner and teacher, really here to ignite within you alignment, energetic alignment, so that you can be the best you and shine. And I often do this through energy work. So today I'm going to share a little bit about fears and facing your fears or moving through your fears using energy work and awareness as well. So, right now, so if you're watching this in the current kind of moment in time, right now, if we think about human design and where the sun is and what themes it's moving through right now, it has been moving through themes of the spleen for since about September 27th of this year. So it's 2022. If you're watching this at a different time, it's still relevant about facing kind of your fears and moving through them as well. So at this time, the sun has been moving through these themes and will continue to move through these themes of the spleen until I think around November 5th. So, if over these past weeks you've felt a bunch of fears coming up, maybe out of nowhere, this is a really good time to start paying attention to those and really, almost in a sense, dig into them and what they're trying to tell you rather than suppress them. Even though that can be really uncomfortable, this is a great opportunity for that. And I'm going to share with you a little bit of why and how. So, the spleen center in human design is kind of the place of fears, and it's often where fears are held. And these fears are not always rational in the sense of, oh, I'm in danger right now. But the spleen often alerts us to things that are happening in the moment, especially dangers. So if there's a fear that has been kind of sitting with you in your energy for a while, the spleen may make it known and in a really uncomfortable way. However, if you're not in physical danger, then it could be a signal that you have something to clear or something that wants to come up to be released. So, if you're feeling some kind of fear that comes out of nowhere or feels really, really, really intense, this is a perfect time to address them. So, if you're not super familiar with human design, that's okay. You can still follow along, and you can also do a little bit of research. You can Google, you can even look on YouTube for some videos about human design. So, in human design, there are 9 centers. One of them is the spleen, so they correspond pretty closely with the chakra system. And so, this particular time is when the sun is kind of highlighting these splenic themes. So, right now, the theme is in gate 32, which is the theme of endurance. And what can come up during this time is that these fears of maybe inadequacy or fears that your dreams will never be able to happen, these may be coming up really strongly. But this particular theme or this particular energy in gate 32 in the spleen is not really an energy of actually doing things. So there could be a couple ways that this energy could flow if it's not necessarily in alignment. So one could be that you're pushing really hard to do all these things to make your dreams happen, and then like they don't necessarily happen because it's not a gate of doing. On the other hand, there could be so much fear of like trying and failing that like there's no attempt at all to clarify dreams or even notice whether or not they should be pursued. So that those can be some of the themes and fears that come up when this gate is really highlighted. So I wanted to share with you some examples of how fear can show up what it looks like and what I've done to help alleviate and help find the root of what's causing those fears and to release them. Because the spleen is kind of letting you know, like, here's something that's going on, here's a fear, but it doesn't necessarily help you to move through it. So, what I like to do is notice and really almost pinpoint, in a sense, what the fear is. But this can only be done if you get really, really present. So I'm going to share with you an exercise that I do for myself, and I share it with my clients, and now I'm sharing it with you. I call it kind of the T-chart, emotional clarity method. So you can grab a piece of paper or even like a sticky note like this and draw like a T, or you just want to have two sides. And to get really, really present, you start to notice how you feel, notice how your body is feeling. And then when it comes to you, what that feeling is, you can write it down on the left side of the chart. So for example, you can write down number 1, and here, I'll do this. Number 1, you can write something like, maybe what you're feeling is, I don't know, anxiety. So maybe you have this feeling in general of discomfort or some kind of fear, but you're not sure where it's coming from. So then on the other side, you can put what you want to feel instead. And this also requires getting really present. So if you don't want to feel anxiety or you don't want to feel fear, how do you want to feel? And you're going to sit with that until it comes to you, until it's clear. So part of this also requires a little bit of patience because it may not come so quickly. So for example, instead of anxiety, maybe you want to feel calm. And so you can just sit with these feelings. So the fear is getting your attention, and then you can sit with these feelings and get really clear on what they actually are. So what that fear is triggering within you. So if you have any other things you want to feel besides calm, you can write them down. And then if you're still feeling that fear, that anxiousness, or something else, you go back to the first side and you identify what that is. So maybe that's a fear of lack, or maybe it's lack itself. And you can write that down and then get really, really present. And it's like, if it's not lack, if I don't want to be in lack or have this fear of not having enough, what do I want to feel? And then you can write down on the right-hand side all the things you want to feel instead. So maybe if it's not lack, it's being abundant, or maybe it's having enough, or whatever it is, and you can make a list. So the key with this is to really, really be present and not to write down more than one emotion at a time that's so-called negative. So you want to sit with one and to get really clear and notice what you want to feel before you go back and uncover another one. So it's kind of a deeper excavation of what energies are kind of sitting there with that fear. And you can do this at any time you feel discomfort. So after you've done that, you can then decide what you want to do. And what you may want to do could be energy work, because energy work often will find what's in the way of you being in alignment with who you truly are, so that you can do the things that you are here to do. And that's how I use it as well. So let me give you an example of a woman I helped with energy work, and specifically with emotion code. So she was an adult, and she came to me because she had really a lot of irrational fear. So this fear and anxiety was basically paralyzing her. She couldn't really do anything. She couldn't really hold a job because of this paralyzing fear. So when she came to me, she felt, if you think about a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is feeling amazing, like no fear, or at least you feel like you feel great. 1 is like the absolute worst. She was at a 1. She was really at the absolute worst. And during the session together, we uncovered that she had only two emotions that were contributing to this fear and anxiety that were stuck within her. And some of them were when she was younger. One was when she was, an adult but older. And the rest of them were actually generational stuck energies. So energies that her, ancestors, not too far back, it was about between one generation, so like her parents, and four, so like great great grandparents. And so all of the rest of them, we released 15 in total. All of the rest were generational energies. So they weren't even necessarily hers, but she carried them on and they were contributing to her feeling this almost unworkable with, in a sense, being able to be herself because she was playing out the energy of these fears that had come through her family line. So it's possible that you can feel the energies of somebody else and they can still impact your life and your energy. Another example could be if you're familiar with human design in the chart, you can notice if you have the emotional solar plexus center defined or not. I personally have it defined. And so people often come to me for that emotional support because I have that as an energy that's very consistent. So those who don't have it defined will often feel the energies and the emotions of others. And it can be pretty strong because they often can be amplified. So those are the type of people who may consider themselves to be empaths because they're constantly feeling other people's emotions. And this can include fears. So another thing that the T-chart can help with is really clarifying those emotions because they may not even be yours. And if they're not yours, if you're aware of it, you can allow them to pass through you while you're feeling them in the moment before they actually get stuck. Now, if they get stuck, this is the work that I kind of do, is to help release these energies. So after this session I did with this lady, this was just one, and we brought her fear and anxiety from that one being absolutely the worst possible to around a 6 or a 7. So just within one session. And while that doesn't happen all the time, it can show you the potential for what it can do to help alleviate those fears, but from a deeper level. So not just a surface level in the moment, but like where they actually originated. So I wanted to share with you to help inspire you or give you hope that if you're feeling super, super fearful and anxious and you're like, I have no idea why, or maybe you do know why, but you can't manage it, this is a way that you can. So the other thing that I want to share with you to keep in mind is if you have an open or defined spleen center. So I have a defined spleen center. So often those energies that I feel are very consistent. Again, that's why some people will seek me out because of those energies that are very consistent. So for people who have more defined centers, it's also an opportunity for them to work through the fears of themselves, and work through those, find the origins, and go deeper with that so that they can release them and go from there, like really being in the energy of who they are. So I wanted to share with you a special offer that I have. If it's not timely for you anymore, don't worry. I still am going to do a song bath for you to help, in a sense, soothe those splenic fears. But the special order, I'll leave information in the notes below. But I'm going to share with you an opportunity to work with me one-on-one like this lady did and go deeper into your fears, especially at this time where they're so present, like they're so up here. And it's interesting because we also have this Halloween time, which is kind of a typical time where it's like, ooh, scare things. But it's really also an opportunity to go deeper and to release those fears so you can be free of them. And so I'll leave that in the notes below, and I would love to have you take advantage of that. So, I'm going to do a song bath for you to help support you in releasing those splenic fears. So, whether they're yours or not, whether they are really causing a lot of paralysis in a sense, keeping you from doing what you want, whether you know about human design or not, whether you have anything that's related, this will tap into and help support you in releasing those splenic fears. So, if you have a particular something that's been on your mind or your heart or feeling it in your body, you can allow that to be a little bit more present. So, we're going to do a mini meditation to get really present with that energy, and then I'll bring in the song bath to help ground in how it is that you want to feel. So, releasing those energies. So, you're going to imagine, intend, sense, or feel that the opposite or that feeling of what it is that you want is in your heart space. So if it's not fear, maybe you want to feel calm, or maybe you want to feel confident, or whatever it is, that you don't want to feel the fear of. Maybe it's lack instead of lack. Maybe you want to feel that abundance. Whatever that is, you're going to bring that into your heart space. Again, imagine, intend, sense, or feel. If you can't, you can also try visualizing it. But the intention, that's the intention. The intention is important. So once you have that there, you are going to allow that energy, those feelings, or that feeling to grow in your heart space. So you're going to imagine that it's growing, 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 like it's intensifying, it's expanding, and you're going to let it grow and imagine, and you're going to let it grow until it bursts out of your heart space, kind of like a firework or starburst. And you're just going to then let that feeling go. And now that we have a kind of a direction for that energy, I'm going to bring in the song bath to help support that and what we're creating, because that's what I do best. So here we go. So take a deep breath if you feel like it. Just kind of relax and let that energy go to work and do what it needs to do to help support you in releasing those fears, especially from the spleen. So let me know what you notice. Let me know in the comments below. You can share what you felt, what you noticed, and take a look at that special offer and see if that's something you would like to pursue, if it's something that you feel would be right for you and supporting you in releasing your fears, especially during this time when they can be so present. So have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and bye for now.